So let's talk about the American M1A2 SEPv2, a vehicle that, in my honest opinion, is entirely doomed to fail in the next major update. But is that true? Let's analyze the vehicle and figure that out for ourselves. But welcome back to yet another talking head, but of course, this time of the dev server and more importantly of the upcoming M1A2 SEPv2 Abrams. A vehicle that really comes to no one's surprise, but what else doesn't come as a huge surprise is the capabilities of a vehicle that, at least in my opinion, has been repeated time and time again. Meaning that this Abrams, at least from what I could tell, is really no different compared to the previous ones we've had in the game for the last couple of years now. But as always, before I go ahead and begin, seeing that this is the dev server, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is entirely subject to change. They might fix some things, they might leave it the way it is. I can well imagine Gaijin is not going to change anything, but really, hopefully they see this video and kind of fix this just a little bit. Now, I will be also adding some things that is kind of controversial. I can't say for certain because I just don't have the proper information for it, but what I can tell you is that the Abrams has had some missing features for the last couple of years now, and hopefully this video brings a little bit more awareness to it, but there is a chance that I might be wrong, so don't crucify me for that, would you? So without further ado, let's talk about the M1A2 SEPv2 and why this is going to be an absolutely unremarkable vehicle in the next major update. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull you guys away from the background footage a little bit of this vehicle, and let's just do a quick run through of what this is. Now, again, battle rating 11.7, which is the exact same BR as the original SEP. I don't think that's gonna remain true. I think we're getting a new BR for them, but again, this is dev server, so take it with a huge grain of salt. Realistically, when it comes to the internals of the vehicle itself, you only get one new module that I could find, and that is the mine protection plate, which has its own little model right here. I don't remember seeing this in the past. I'm sure this has been here for a little while now, but I just never really noticed it. You get the same Gen 2 thermal sights for the gunner and the commander, as well as the driver. I mean, who drives in the driver's mode anyways, right? It's there if you want to do it. Cool, right? M829 is a T1 shell, Heatfest is a stock round, and of course the venerable M829A2 as the top end dart, at least for the time being. A small rumor says that we might be getting the A3 version. I don't believe we're going to, simply because it doesn't need it. This is a good enough shell to get the job done. But really, when it comes to everything else, it's the exact same thing. Now let's go over the aesthetics of the vehicle, right? We do have a new layer of ERA. We have just regular Eret 2 and Eret. Yeah, so what this does is it basically adds an extra layer of ERA to the top of the vehicle. It also adds it to the side of the turret. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really benefit you much in the game. And let me show you something. Now, if you're familiar with any bit of my channel, any bit of my streams, or any other content outside of it, I don't use the Tusk package. I find that the Tusk package is a little bit of a detriment to my gameplay. As you can see right here, this is what I like to call the naked Abrams. What this does, or it allows me to have and to do, is to have better thermal sights in a similar size profile compared to that of the original Abrams, the M1A2, and the previous ones as well. Now, if I go ahead and equip it real quick, you can see right here, what this does is it creates a much larger profile for the vehicle to be engaged. So at any given point, when I sit behind a hill, when I want to snipe or something, the first thing the enemy is going to see is this really tall, gigantic machine gun, of course. And you know what this does too? It makes it a shot trap. Now, of course, I lose the 50 cal. I get it. I don't mind losing it. It's nice to have it, but it is what it is. Now, imagine everything I just said, but on a permanently fixed platform. That's right. This is a fragmentation catch. How do I know that? I do it all the time against Abrams who have this kit on. Now, unfortunately, for the SEPv2, it's fixed. You can't get rid of it. And here's another thing I want to talk about too, is the mine protection plate. As of the time of this video's recording, there's no method of mines or any sort of other, hidden devices that can destroy your vehicle no IEDs, nothing. So adding that, again, is going to be a detriment to this vehicle, because what you're doing is essentially adding weight to it, making it slower, making it less responsive, and this is already a very heavy vehicle to begin with. And trust me when I say transmission, engine hasn't really changed much since this vehicle's initial introduction, at least not in War Thunder. Now, this is where things are going to get a little bit controversial, and that is the missing feature of depleted uranium. Now, if you take a look at the turret face of the vehicle itself, it doesn't tell you. I mean, as you can see, RHA, composite, RHA, lower glacis, pretty much the exact same thing. Now, whatever information you read, I personally use sites such as military blog spots, so on and so forth, and it tells me, of course, that the lower plate and the turret face are able to withstand anywhere between 510 to 600 millimeters of kinetic, the turret face anywhere between 7 to 900, and the number goes up dramatically when it comes to chemical munitions, right? In War Thunder, that just isn't the case. If you know how to kill the Abrams from the very first one to this one, unfortunately, it's going to remain the exact same, around sub 400 millimeters of base penetration with standard high-grade kinetic rounds, such as DM43, DM53, 3BM60, and so on and so forth. And now the turret face doesn't really suffer much of that problem. As you can see right here, this really isn't the information I've been getting. Now, again, don't quote me on that. I get there's a lot of information out there, and I don't want to mislead you, but in War Thunder, the turret isn't as well protected, nor is the lower glacis, as that of what is officially stated anyways. So case in point, the vehicle is missing its DU inserts. How true that is, I have no idea. Maybe Gaijin modeled it, they're just too lazy to give us the name for it. Cool, right? But let's talk about the actual real world performance of the Abrams. And it's not that lower plate. I mean, as much as people want to complain about it as much as they do, trust me when I say it's not that. It's the neck. It's specifically the entirety of the neck. This is by far the easiest vehicle to destroy. Trust me, I do it with everything. Hit it right here in the nose area underneath the breech. You can usually one-tap this thing or break pretty much everything about it. And if you happen to find yourself in a, well, hold down position, you can expect relatively intelligent players to use fragmentation to bonk you on the top of the head. How do I know that? I do it myself, and trust me, it's been done to me too. So let's move over to the dev blog of the M1A2 SEPv2, which, by the way, Gaijin has been doubling up said dev blogs. I think they're just trying to get this out of the way as quickly as they can to get us ready for the major event, which should be starting in a week or two. But let's talk more about this. Now, I just want to bring some close attention to how they kind of worded this, okay? Because in truth, a lot of what you're going to be reading right here, I want to say cringe, but I don't at the same time. Does that kind of make sense? Even though I just kind of said it right. Features the ARET2 ERA, remote controlled gun on the turret roof, and Gen 2 thermal imagers. I just want to point out really quick that the M1A2 SEP has Gen 2 thermal sights. In fact, to my knowledge, at least from the dev server perspective, both the M1A2s, except for the original one, has Gen 2 thermal, and every single vehicle, minus some World War II ones and some Cold War, has a remote controlled turret on the roof anyways for the machine gun. Every vehicle has it. Hell, even the IS-7 has it, right? And it's kind of weird to me that they brought this up, or they brought attention to this, when it's like, it's common knowledge. I get you're trying to fill up the dev blog, but just why? Now, if we scroll down just a little bit more, again, it's just more filler content. It's telling you about the ERA protection. It's telling you about the remote controlled gun on the roof, which looks nice. Again, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing new. I don't know why they're kind of putting a focus on that. And when they talk about the ERA blocks, which helps against heat shells and ATGMs, I want to point out that at top tier, most ATGMs are tandem. Now, granted, you know, it's kind of spaced out. There's second ERA behind it, etc. It's not really going to help you out too much against those missiles. And really, the only ones you'll run into are ones from the Chrysanthema and the BMP-2M, and maybe some barrel launch stuff, which I don't know why you would use it personally against an MBT, but it's there. But really, not to get too deep into this dev blog, because in truth, it just kind of points out exactly what we already know. It's an M1A2 SEP that is just a little bit better, a teeny tiny bit, but really that comes down to the player perspective. But I want to bring a little bit of attention to one part that I did see, which is urban environments as well as modern electronics. Let's be real here. You're not going to be experiencing modern electronics. There's no gun lead system. There's no auto targeting. There's none of that stuff for the fire control system. Again, it's the same sights as the original Abrams. This is all the Abrams for the most part, except Gen 2 thermals, which is exactly the same as the previous one. But you know what? Let's drop the kind of like quote unquote professional YouTuber act, I guess, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna, like, today we're talking about this right now. Let me get serious for a second, all right? And I'll give you my honest opinion. It's just another Abrams. It's not going to be that great. I don't think the American win rate's going to go up because, in truth, it's the exact same thing as the previous one. But in fact, I would even go as far as to say is that it's worse than even the M1A2 SEP, because at least with that one, you can take off the Tusk package and you have a better Abrams overall, whereas this one, all you can do is take off the mine-resistant plate, which doesn't even give you any benefit, at least for the time being. But really, at the end of the day, we have a new Abrams. I'm happy, excited to have it, but really, it's just... I don't see a reason to play it personally. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna make a video on it, don't get me wrong, but I don't see a reason to use this over the M1A2 SEP when it feels objectively worse in the current environment. If they give this thing M1A2 if they give it something a lot better, I can see it being superior. But even with that, with how M1A2 is, it wouldn't really even be much of a benefit anyways, because once you break over 600 millimeters of flat pen, translating to 30 and 60, it's all the same. They all play the exact same way. And this thing is gonna die very much the same way as every other Abrams before it. But anyways, I feel like I'm going on a tangent at this point. That's all I got for you guys for when it comes to the M1A2. I'm gonna be playing it. I'll be using it for you guys. I'll be showcasing it. But in truth, I don't expect this to change anything. I think it's gonna be the same as the previous ones. But really, I want to hear it from you, the top tier tanker. What do you think about this? Is this a worthwhile addition? Is it a copy paste, point and click adventure of an Abrams, I guess? Or is this truly just bringing us something new, or maybe newer in the future? I'm sure they'll give this A3, but that really remains to be seen. But again, let me know down in the comment section below, and I hope you guys did enjoy this talking head. It'll be my last one for a little bit as we focus more on the update itself. I might do one of the T90, no guarantees. I just want to do a quick look-see into it, and really that's it. But again, thank you, and I will see you not only in the next video or even the streams, but most certainly in the fields of thunder. I like that phrase. I don't know why. It's just rolling off the tongue very well. I'll see you next time.